So we'll be presenting about Freud's theory of psychosexual development. So we divided it into 3 parts. The first part will be acted out by Einstein and Ubai. The second part will involve everyone else. And the third part will involve Ray, Ashraf, Bilal, and Amir. So this is Ubai, this is Einstein, this is Bilal. That is Amir, Ashraf, Arif, Alfie, and Ray. Alright, so for the first part, we'll be talking about the 3 components of personality, which are id, ego, and superego. So id is our basic instincts, our natural instincts. So our basic desire. So here we have a scenario where Einstein and Ubai are at a restaurant. Ubai feels thirsty, and even though he knows that the waiter is coming with his drink, he cannot wait, and so he grabs Einstein's drink. Sorry, I'm thirsty. Can I ask you permission? Oh, yeah. Alright, so the second part, ego, is when he stops himself because Ubai stops himself from drinking because he's afraid of judgment from Einstein. So he doesn't drink. And the third part, the superego, is when Ubai knows that the waiter is coming with his drink, and he also knows that it's morally wrong. So superego represents our conscience. Alright, now we move on to the second part, the 5 stages of psychosexual development. So in this part, Ray is the infant. He's the main character. So we're going through stages of Ray's life. So the first part is oral stimulation from infant until 1 year old. So Bilal is playing his mother. Come here. Okay, so Ray receives oral stimulation because he gets his drink, and he gets other than getting a drink, he also has a pacifier. So if you get fixated in this stage, as in you don't move on, you develop unhealthy habits like smoking and drinking because your libido or your desire is stimulated and satisfied from this area. So the next part will be anal stimulation from the age of 1 until 3 years old. So at this point, Ray has trouble controlling his bladder and his bowels.
Hey, boy. Here. Yeah. Sit down. Pull off your pants.
Okay. So the erogenous zone where you get stimulation is your bowel and bladder control. So parents who utilize praise and rewards for using the toilet at the appropriate time encourages positive outcomes and help children feel capable and productive. However, not all parents provide the support and encouragement that children require during this time. So if parents take an approach that is too lenient, Freud suggested that children develop an anal expulsive personality in which the individual has a messy, wasteful, or destructive personality. If parents are too strict or start toilet training too early, Freud believed that an anal retentive personality develops in which the individual is orderly, rigid, and obsessive. Now we move on to the third stage, the phallic stage, from the age of 3 to 6 years old. The erogenous zone this time is the genitals. At this age, children begin to discover the differences between males and females. So Amir here is playing a female.
That's nothing here. That's fine.
point in time, the Oedipus complex or the Electra complex also comes into play, but we'll explain it during the third session later. So, the next part is, the fourth step is the latent period from the age of 6 years old to puberty. At this point, sexual feelings are inactive. So here we have Arif and Alfie playing children socializing with Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Hi.
You want to go lunch with us?
Yeah.
No. You want to go lunch with us? Okay, let's go. Okay.
So at this point, children are just forming social relationships and exploring the world without any sexual feelings.
Ya Allah, apa dah
And the fifth step and final stage is genital stage from the age of puberty until death. This erogenous zone is maturing sexual interest. So they find a mate, start a family and have kids.
So you can kiss together.
You guys need to make kids. Okay.
What did I just watch?
So, at this stage, for earlier stages, the focus was on individual needs. But at this stage, the interest and welfare of others starts to grow. So if other stages have been completed successfully, the individual should now be well balanced, warm and caring. Now we move on to the third step, the explaining the Oedipus complex and also the Electra complex. So here we have Bilal as the mother and Ashraf as the father.
Oh Allah.
So at this point, the Oedipus complex, boys begin to view their fathers as rivals for their mother's affections. The Oedipus complex describes these feelings of wanting to possess the mother and replace the father. However, the child also fears that he will be punished by the father for these feelings, a fear that Freud termed castration anxiety. And the term Electra complex has been used to describe a similar set of feelings among girls. So at this point,
My man.
Music tu tak ada belah.
so the child begins to identify with the same-sex parents as a mean of vicariously possessing the other parent. And that about wraps it up for Freud's psychosexual.